G'day guys, Lindemann here in DCS World with the 18C. This time we are looking at Ccrp Bombing, and we'll also throw in a missile strike with the Maverick that you can see. Ooh, almost just the tip there on the wings. Got a couple of AGM-65Ds. We'll just check that they are cooked up. Yes, they are, and the targeting pod is good to go. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is get myself oriented on the area of operation. So I'm going to coolie hat left, and I'm going to zoom out with DMS down. Now I'm going to China hat forward, and waypoint 3 is what we're interested in. So I'm just going to center the panel here. I might just make a mark point on the ground. Waypoint 3 is actually in the air, so if I were to slew my controls there, like the targeting pod would be looking 1500 feet in the air, which would be a bit confusing. I'm just going to get rid of the flight plane and switch to mark mode now, and you can see that our new mark point A is our steer point. So if I were to China hat forward long, we would slew all controls there, and the targeting pod, if I just boat switch back, coolie hat switched right along there to change the sensor of interest that I'm manipulating. We are now right in on the AO, and I can see a tank already. So what I'll do is I'm going to TMS up short, just using the slew controls. I've got the targeting pod in point mode. Okay, I'm just going to do a little orbit out to sea, or maybe not an orbit. I'm just going to extend probably to the west, so 270 degrees is there. I'll just get back to level flight at 14,000. Okay, so yeah, that's definitely what looks like a Russian tank, and I'm going to TMS up long to make the targeting pod SPI. Now, if you don't know what that means, by default the SPI is set to the steer point, and SPI means sensor point of interest. That's what the aircraft is focusing on. It's denoted by this wedding cake white symbol. So you can see now in the this green diamond is the targeting pod icon, and the SPI is locked to the targeting pod. What that means is that anything we look at with the targeting pod is what the bombing solution is going to be calculating for. So if you've ever done a bombing run and your bombs didn't hit the what you were expecting, instead they went flying off miles away and bombed the maybe your waypoint, that's because you had the SPI set to the wrong thing. And so to set the SPI, you hit TMS forward long or up long, and that changes whatever your current sensor is to be SPI. TMS down long resets it back to your steer point, which is what it is by default. Okay, so I'm going to just coolie hat switch short right to change my my Maverick on. I'm going to coolie hat long right to select that as sensor of interest. China hat switch long to slew, and remember the targeting pod is SPI, so it's slewed to the targeting pod. China hat forward short to zoom in, and the view is pretty bad, isn't it? So we'll get the targeting pod over here. So that's what it's looking at. That is the same view, but as you can see, the Maverick IR FLIR view is nowhere near the modern targeting pod ability. Now I'll set SOI, sensor of interest, with coolie hat right long, and I'm going to use the slew control just to slew it off, and you can see it's got a contrast lock. Autopilot off, we'll just nose down to give it a bit of a better view. Coolie hat up, DMS to the side to select Mavericks, and rifle. Missile away, and off to the north. Okay, so you can see that we've got the Maverick view on the right panel. That's actually the next Maverick, obviously, because the other one's gone. We don't have a connection to it. On the HUD, on the very left hand side, you see 8, 7, 6. That is the countdown to impact. It's about 3 seconds early there, so it's not 100% accurate. Sometimes it's late, which is terrifying, and that T-55 didn't stand a chance against the Maverick. So, pretty simple. You can see the Mavericks now off the rail. Mavericks, typically you would use them as a standoff weapon against AAA, air defense, particularly SAMs. You'd want to be shooting them from, I don't know, 7 to 5 miles away and getting out of there as quick as you can. And then after the air defense is destroyed, you can go in with the bombs and cannon, etc. So typically in a mission I wouldn't be carrying too many Mavericks. They're a little bit too easy, a bit boring, and yeah, just not so exciting. But a good challenge taking out some air defense systems, particularly the more modern, dangerous ones. So, and what we would do is we'll move on from the Maverick strike, and we'll move on to setting up for a Ccrp run. I'm going to put the airplane into orbit. So I've set altitude hold mode down here on the autopilot panel and engage the autopilot. So it is holding 11,500 feet, and we're going to set up our weapon systems, the profile for Ccrp. So I've gone into the DSMS, the Digital Stores Management System. I've selected profiles, and I've got an up and down arrow with these buttons here. So I've got CPU 97s, they are cluster bomb units, and we have GBU, which are guided bombs. These are JDAMs actually, so they are GPS guided bombs that will bomb the SPI. So they're set to Ccrp by default. There's no laser time settings. It's pretty simple. So I can pretty much leave that as it was configured. With the GBU 12s, the laser guided bombs, you typically have to select the laser time and set them to Ccrp and all the rest. Okay, so the next thing to do is to find a target. Now, remembering the SPI is set to the targeting pod. Okay, I'll get a laser on that using the nose wheel steering button. It's in point mode. It's off to the right. So if I TMS forward long, that is what the is just making sure that the targeting pod is SPI. Now the TVV is on the HUD, as I've mentioned before, and it's got a line coming off it, and that shows where the SPI currently is. So if that's not looking right, then in fact if I were to hit TMS down, you can see boom, that jump there. That's reset it to bombing the mark point A, because of TMS down resets it to the steer point. And boom, just press TMS up long, and that's set it back to the targeting pod. So whatever is currently sensor of interest, that is what we're bombing. Now Ccrp bombing is pretty simple. We've got the steering line in the center here, vertical line, and we've got the pipper. All you need to do is keep the center dot of the pipper over that line. So just a little bit left, a little bit left. There we go, perfect. And that is it. It's got two inside the pipper. It's got two dots. One dot is the bomb delivery window, and the other one is the end of the bomb delivery window. So I can drop the bomb anytime now. So pipper, weapon away. And now bomb release is not allowed, because you see that ticker tape has wound past the open and close window. So anytime, I mean, the bomb has guidance. I can now do whatever I want, because the guidance is completely internal. It's got 17 seconds to impact. You see that on the left side of the HUD. The laser is armed. That's what the L means. 10 seconds now. The laser is not going to do anything because it's a GPS guided bomb. So if you need to toss a bomb, and there it goes, boom, target destroyed. If you need to toss a bomb, over a ridge line and get out of there, if you were to be using laser guided bombs, sort of a 90s technology, you would have to, or someone would have to, laser the target for the bomb to home in on, because these are JDAMs, a GPS guided munition. You simply tell the bomb where the SPI is, release the bomb, and you could be shot down. The bomb's still going to be guiding itself in on target. So yeah, really effective munition. Main drawbacks: if the target is moving, you're stuffed, because you're giving the bomb a SPI position, and that's all. So if it's a convoy which is rolling, the weapons are pretty much probably going to be useless. You can sometimes strike the target to get them to stop. They go into a defensive position and then drop a JDAM if you're quick, but other than that, JDAMs are really for fixed stationary targets. They were developed usually to take out things like bunkers and bases and buildings, installations, etc. So we have laser guided bombs to take out moving targets with a bit of tolerance, of course. So the next thing I wanted to drop was the CBU 97. So coolly switch up. The HUD is now soy, and I can DMS left to select the weapons profile. We'll go to CBU 97, and you can see that there. This is a Ccrp profile, and I want to go into the profiles, view profile, select Ccrp, and save. I'll just zoom out slightly. That was China hat forward to do that. It's very tricky a lot of the time to actually see the targets. Right, there we go. Get a lasing solution on that. That looks good. And we will get the autopilot off, and we'll get these lined up. Just check that is definitely the SPI. Yes, it is. Okay, we'll go back to the digital stores management system. We'll see there, double check, yep, it is definitely in Ccrp. We've got the aircraft trimmed too well. So we are descending as I take my hand off the stick. 15 seconds. So you'll see there the timer just being allowed. 10 seconds. This one is not GPS guided, so it has worked out my speed and the glide path of the bomb, and it will drop. And boom, one away. This is a cluster munition. It's a CBU 97 is anti-tank bomblets. It's not one of the modern ones that have target detection and the hockey puck style. This one is more simple than that. It breaks open and blows up anything it can. So 12 seconds. We'll zoom out to get a bit of a show on the fireworks. Three, two, one, and there they go. See the little pucks there? And that poor guy did not stand a chance. Okay, that's one dead tank. It's obviously highly effective against clusters of targets. So that's the sort of thing you'd love to drop in a parking lot and make a real mess of the enemy. Okay, that's an introduction to Ccrp bombing. My name's Lindemann, and thanks for watching.